Let's talk about flashing. Not your friends and certainly not strangers. Flashes for your SX70 cameras, that is. But more specifically, I really want to talk about the MiNT Flash Bar Dose. It's kind of expensive. So is it worth it? Is it actually any good? Well, let's find out in today's video. Let's get into it.
You know the type of guy that was a jock in high school but ended up becoming a huge nerd? You know, someone that's not afraid to make a fool of themselves on the internet. And someone that likes to shoot Polaroid a little too much. Did I say huge nerd? You know, just an ordinary, everyday guy. Well, that's me. I'm just another Chris.
So you have an SLR camera and you want to shoot it indoors or just in low light situations, but you can't because there's no flash on these cameras unless you're lucky enough to find an SLR 680, which has a built-in flash. But for the price of that thing, whew, baby, that's pretty expensive. Worth it, but whew, that's a pretty penny. So if you don't have one of those, what are your options? Well, there's a few things, such as adding these ginormous flash systems to your camera. Unfortunately, this one doesn't work. It goes on the bottom and it has this little thing comes up here and then you plug it in and then you can have flashes. Then there's some with like handles that you can stick on. They're really huge, massively cumbersome, and just not practical in modern days. Now, another option you could go with, much slimmer, more compact, fits in your pocket type thing, and that is the Flash Bar. One, technically. And they're old school technology. They're bulbs. They're non-reusable bulbs. You can get 10 shots per one of these and then you just throw it away in the trash. Man, back in the day, we were not kind on the environment, that's for sure. You can find these and they're fairly inexpensive. This is an option. If you got the cash and you're really invested into instant photography, especially shooting on SLR cameras, and you don't want to fork out hundreds of dollars on the SLR 680, or maybe you just want something a little more compact with the option of flash. And that would be the MiNT Flash Bar 2, you know, because this is technically Flash Bar 1. See what they did there? It gives you quite a bit of options, and I definitely like it. Like I said, though, it is pretty expensive. I actually got lucky and found it during a Polaroid Black Friday deal. I think I paid like 50 bucks for it. So keep an eye out for that stuff, but typically these were around $100 depending on where you go and buy it. But is it actually worth it? I mean, you could go buy a camera for the same price of this. But once you have it, it's kind of sweet and very convenient. But let's take a look inside the box real quick. It comes with everything you need right out of the box. It comes with its own batteries. I didn't know that. I bought some. That's why mine are still sealed. But it comes with their own batteries, and it comes with 2 flash filters that just stick on by magnets. Really cool. I actually haven't used them very much, and it just plugs right into the top of your SLR folding cameras pretty nicely, and the original boxes SX70 cameras, not all of them, but you know, the 1-step and I believe the 1000 series, they will work on there as well, just like so. It's pretty cool, even though this one had a special one for it, like so. It's really cool. Unfortunately, this camera doesn't work either. It's kind of a bummer, but it's really handy. Remove it from your camera and it takes up no space. You could still kind of put this in a coat pocket in your other pocket and, you know, hit the town without it being too cumbersome. On the base model SX70, that is. On the sonar one, I mean, it's still going to be, well, the size of a sonar, and it's kind of large, as you can see. It's pretty big. I mean, it's pretty close to the same size as an SLR 680, but the nice thing is you can take this off and shorten it a little bit so it's a little more compact, and, you know, put in your bags and pockets, whatever you want to do. So that's nice, but is it actually any good? And there's been some people in my comments saying this thing is trash and horrible. That's not my experience. My experience is this thing's really good. This thing's super bright. A lot of people were complaining about the brightness and the distance you have to be away from it for it to even be functional. And I haven't had any of those problems. Maybe they're using it incorrectly, and it's very easy to do. Actually, there are 2 options on the back of this that is kind of crucial when using. I first thought it meant just, hey, you get to choose your output level depending on your scene. There's like a half power and a full power option on the back. Well, that's not the case at all. The half power is designed for 600 film, and the full power is designed for SX70 film. So in layman's terms, if you're putting in SX70 film in this camera, you're gonna wanna use the full circle power button to take your picture. And if you're using 600 film in your camera, this one's actually converted to use 600 film, just so you know, you'd want to use it on the half power option. Otherwise, your images are going to be super blown out. Now, I tested this with 600 film just this past Christmas at my little family gathering. I had my sister take a picture of me, and she was standing at about 8 to 9 feet away, and I did think, because that person in my comment section was saying how the fall off is atrocious, so I decided to go full power with 600 film. It didn't have a problem at all. In fact, it actually kind of overexposed the photo. I should have used the regular mode. So this thing outputs, in my experience, super well. Now, there's one thing I do find extremely annoying with this, and that is how long it takes to charge up your flash. If you turn it on to the setting you want, there's a blue light, and then you have to wait for it to turn green, and it could take anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds for it to turn green. Depending on the mode you're using, you have to do that in between each shot. So if you're trying to take multiple flash shots within a span of a few seconds, you're gonna have to wait. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it just is what it is, and it takes some time to charge. But that's really the only negative thing I have on this. It works extremely well, and there's some fun things you can do with it too, such as those filters that I was mentioning, and also it has a PCE port, so you can use like external flashes with this, so in like a studio setting. So that's really freaking sweet. I am not really that style of shooter for instant photography, so I have no experience with that, but it's a neat touch. If you guys have experience with that, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are, and I'd be curious to know. Now, one of the probably the coolest things with this that I just learned actually is that if you're using your SX70 camera, but you have 600 film, you typically would have to put an ND filter over that pack, and you're good to go. You can shoot away. Not gonna have any problem because the ISO levels are different. SX70 film, I believe, is ASA 160 and or the ISO, and then the 600 film is actually ISO or ASA 640. So it's way more sensitive, way more bright. You can shoot in low light situations. That honestly is my favorite. I don't use SX70 film at all. No, just my personal preference. Just don't use it. So when I use this camera, I use 600 film with an ND filter on it. And then like I was saying, this camera right here has been converted to take 600 film natively. And I'm actually going to do a video in the coming weeks dedicated to 600 in these cameras, plus conversions, all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. Consider subscribing if you want to see it. However, with all that said, so let's say you're out of SX70 film, but you have some 600 film and you don't have an ND filter handy. With this, you can actually put it on your camera, set it to 600, and you can take a picture without an ND filter, and it'll come out just fine. That's pretty cool. I haven't tested it. I was actually checking out Noah's YouTube channel. Consider checking him out. I'll leave a link in the description. And he was demoing it, and he had some awesome results. So that was very surprising and really cool. So shout out to you, Noah, and consider subscribing to Analog Resurgence. It's a cool channel. So the big question is, should you buy this? I mean, it comes down to personal preference. If you don't like flash, I don't use flash often. It's only when I know I'm going to be in a situation where I would love to shoot some photos, but it's going to be indoors or, you know, dark outside, then I'll use a flash. But typically I don't like to use that to flash that much. Try to avoid it. But just past Christmas, I busted this out and we're inside, so it's going to be really dark. I was so glad I had this. This thing is so cool. It is somewhat of an investment though. If you are the casual shooter that just likes to shoot a pack or two a year, maybe, I don't know if I'd go this route, because, you know, you can buy a camera for the price of one of these practically. But if you're an active SLR camera shooter, yes, I would highly recommend picking this up. It is definitely worth the money. It'll allow you to shoot your photos in situations when you normally would be bummed that you couldn't. And it takes up no space, like I was saying. Fold this camera down, take it apart, and put it in your pockets. And it's not as cumbersome. It's semi-pocketable. These really were marketed as pocketable. Back in the day, they got big trench coats and stuff, and this was perfect for that. It still fits really well, especially with like my flannels. They have pockets in them, and it fits right up in there. You can't even tell I have one. I've actually been tempted to make a video on clothing for shooting instant photography. It's kind of out of the left field, but I gotta say that is something I take into account when I go out. Like, what am I gonna wear? What'll fit my needs, like making sure I have a shirt pocket to put my film in, and having these deep pockets allows me to fit these cameras in my shirts and stuff. So if you guys want to see a video like that, let me know. I think it'd be pretty fun, and no one really has done it before that I know of. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you're interested in that. And if you feel like supporting the channel, there is a link in the description below to join the monthly print club. You get photos sent to your door every single month. Would really appreciate it. So if you want to grab one of these for yourself, I will leave some links in the description below to help you out and get one. That's all I got for you for today. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching my videos. We hit over 5,000 subscribers. I am still blown away by that. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Now, get out there, make some art, go flash people appropriately.